A 19-year-old kid. No weapon, no army, no rank worth mentioning. Just a pair of headphones and a signal he wasn't supposed to hear. The Nazi war machine was the most feared military force in modern history. It had crushed Poland in 27 days. It had taken France in 6 weeks. Its commanders were considered geniuses. Its encrypted communications were believed to be completely unbreakable. And a teenage radio operator, sitting alone in a cold room, cracked it open. Not with a weapon, not with an army, with patience and one tiny mistake the Nazis made every single morning. Here's the part that nobody tells you. Level 1. The Boy in the Room. His name was Dilly Knox. Actually, wait, let's start even lower than that. Let's talk about the boy who did the actual work, the one history almost completely forgot. His name was John Herivel, 19 years old, fresh out of Cambridge University, never been in a war, never fired a gun, recruited into a secret British code-breaking program because he was good at math. They sent him to a place called Bletchley Park, a large country house in the English countryside. From the outside, it looked like nothing, just a quiet estate. But inside, hundreds of the brightest minds in Britain were fighting a secret war, a war fought not with bullets, but with numbers, patterns, and broken codes. And right at the center of that war was a machine, the Enigma. The Germans used it to encrypt every single military communication, every order sent to a U-boat captain, every troop movement, every attack plan. The message went in as normal text and came out the other side as complete nonsense, unless you knew the settings. And the settings changed every single day at midnight. So every morning, the codebreakers at Bletchley started from zero. Millions of possible combinations, no time, and somewhere out in the ocean, Allied ships were sinking. John Herivel was 19. He had been at Bletchley for just a few weeks, and he thought he might have found something, but nobody believed him yet. Level 2. The mistake inside the machine. Here's how the Enigma worked. Before sending any message, a German radio operator had to set up the machine. 3 rotors, a plug board, a starting position, all of it had to match the settings in a codebook that changed every night at midnight. The problem the Germans never solved was human laziness. Think about it. You're a German radio operator. It's 5 a.m. It's freezing. You're tired. You open your codebook. You set your rotors to the new daily position. But then, before you send your first message, you have to choose a personal starting position for the rotors, something random, something only you pick. And here's what tired, cold, half-asleep people do when asked to pick something random. They pick something easy. They barely move the rotors from the position they were already in after setup. John Herivel, sitting in his cold room at Bletchley, staring at intercepted messages, had a thought that kept him awake at night. What if the operators aren't really picking random positions? What if they're all being lazy in exactly the same way? He called it the Herivel tip. If he was right, the daily settings could be guessed, not through math, not through brute force, through human psychology. But here's what made it terrifying. He couldn't prove it yet. He just had a feeling, and the war wasn't waiting for feelings. Honestly, if you were John Herivel right now, sitting in that room at 19 years old, what would you do? You have a theory, no proof. The smartest codebreakers in Britain haven't figured it out. Older men with more experience are working on it right now. Do you speak up, or do you stay quiet and keep working? Because what he did next either saves thousands of lives or wastes everyone's time. Level 2. The announcement. A Communist Party spokesman named Günter Schabowski had just come back from vacation. Nobody had briefed him properly on the new policy. Nobody told him when it was supposed to start. So when reporters asked him live on television, "When does this take effect?" Schabowski looked down, shuffled his papers, and said, "Immediately, without delay." Within minutes, it was on the news. East German television broadcast it. West German radio sent it back over the wall. People heard it on hidden radios in their apartments. They called their neighbors. "Did you hear? They're opening the wall tonight." And then, slowly at first, people started moving. By 9 p.m., there were tens of thousands of people gathering at the checkpoints. And standing at the Bornholmer Street gate, one of the main crossing points, was a mid-level border officer named Harald Jager. He wasn't a general, he wasn't powerful, he stamped passports and went home. Tonight, he was about to hold the fate of an empire in his hands. But here's what nobody talks about. What happened in the next 2 hours wasn't dramatic. It was just terrifying silence. Level 4. What the code was hiding. The decoded messages revealed German U-boat positions in the Atlantic. Allied convoys carrying food, weapons, and soldiers had been getting destroyed. Ships disappearing, thousands of men drowning. Britain was slowly being strangled from the sea. Now, for the first time, they could see where the U-boats were. Ships were rerouted, convoys were saved, attacks were predicted before they happened. The German Navy couldn't understand it. Their code was supposed to be unbreakable. They ran tests, checked their equipment, blamed bad luck. They never suspected a 19-year-old had spotted a pattern in their operators' laziness. Over the course of the war, the intelligence gathered at Bletchley Park, built on the foundation of the Herivel tip, is estimated to have shortened the war by 2 to 4 years. 2 to 4 years. Think about what that means. Every single day of World War II, thousands of people died. Soldiers, civilians, children. 2 to 4 years fewer of that. One teenager, one theory, one crack in the machine. And now here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. Was John Herivel the real hero of World War II, more than any general or soldier? Or does the hero title belong to the men who fought and bled on the actual battlefield? Because I genuinely think this answer divides people, and I want to know which side you're on. Here's the twist that makes this whole story darker. John Herivel came home after the war, and then nothing, because everything that happened at Bletchley Park was classified as a state secret. For 30 years, nobody who worked there was allowed to say a single word about what they had done. Herivel went back to normal life, got a job, raised a family. When people asked him what he did in the war, he said he worked in communications. That was it. The men who stormed beaches got parades, the generals got statues, the politicians got history books. And the 19-year-old who helped crack the Enigma, who possibly saved millions of lives with a single psychological insight, went home and told nobody. For 3 decades, he carried it in silence. The secret wasn't declassified until 1974. Herivel was in his 50s by then. He finally got to tell his story. He wrote about it. He gave interviews. He lived long enough, just barely, to be recognized. He died in 2011. He was 92 years old. And even now, most people have never heard his name. The Nazi war machine had thousands of generals, billions in funding, the most advanced military technology of its time. It was cracked open by a tired teenager who noticed that people are lazy in the morning. One boy, one cold room, one pair of headphones, and the most feared war machine in history had a leak it never found.